Even though it's been less than 3 weeks since I worked on this tree, I can't start an updates video without showing this incredible response to begin with. This is the reason I did not repot this tree in spring. I wanted to get this massive explosion of dormant buds to help me take this Sohin maple further very fast. Even less than 3 week old wire is biting in the bark. I'll probably will do one more pruning in few weeks and full styling in November. The pine forest is doing great as well. Nice vigorous growth in all of the trees that will bring ramification and mature bark faster than I thought. The Japanese black pine air layer I repotted and set to develop into a fat, formal upright has recovered well and it's placed under full sun for now. I had no doubt that the Austrian black pine forest will look good as this species is the most resilient, so this will develop rather fast. Even though I messed up the shot, you have to trust me that this Japanese black pine kotobuki in literati style I styled just 3 months ago is doing great. Now this is the Japanese black pine seedling I bent in the January of 2022, but it struggled to survive in the very bad summer of 2023 as it lost all of its foliage in the summer. I managed to keep it alive and now I've got some great ideas for the future. Grafted Japanese white pine that I repotted this spring with nice, balanced, healthy growth all over. Now many people have asked about this mugo pine in raft style, if it did survive the rootwork and styling. And yes, it has, but still it's not ready to be worked again. I still haven't removed the wires and I'm not planning to for this season, but now growth is nice and it has set fat buds for next year. A Japanese black pine graft onto Austrian black pine tree that is getting some rough bark and a great nebari as it's planted in the ground. This cascade pine still hasn't given me the back budding I want to move it further, so I'm still waiting for this one. The grafted Japanese white pine I used to demonstrate Namawasi is now established in the ground and it's giving perfectly balanced dense growth all over. I think that in 2 years this one will be ready. I have already been taking scions from it and one of them is here grafted onto Austrian black pine planted in the ground but still not thick enough yet, but I guess I will wire it soon. This grafted Japanese white pine I repotted and styled in late summer almost 3 years ago still has all of the wires on it and it's so dense now that I'll have a very hard job removing them in a few weeks. One of my very favorite trees in the garden, this Japanese white pine on its own roots, repotted and styled in October a year and a half ago, is almost ready to be called a proper bonsai with perfect nebari and flanking bark and a great ramification. My Sohin junipers, Itoigawa and Kishu in the back, I styled a few months ago next to my Itoigawa Tanuki that is growing very fast. The Japanese maple forest responding to heavy pruning with an explosion of buds all over. So it looks like I will have all the necessary branches for proper styling in autumn. My sequoia lost two trunks on the right after the hard pruning, but the growth is strong and soon these will be replaced. I'm not planning on doing any work on this tree for this season. I haven't worked on this spruce since the first styling and repotting 3 years ago in August, other than removing the wire. Soon I'll spend many hours trying to bring this tree back to a bonsai-like look. These are some of my best pines, and the big Japanese black pine in the middle is going to be candle pruned soon for its second season of training with me. The Japanese black pine is in the small pot for 4 seasons now, so I'm not planning to candle prune it this year. The growth is very much in proportion with the tree, and since this will not be strong enough to give me at least two buds in each cut, candle pruning will be counterproductive. The biggest tree in the garden, this Austrian black pine, is growing great, healthy and perfectly balanced. This is the back side of the tree. Going into the third season in this pot, the roots have started to lift the tree out, so I'm going to have to repot it next spring, much sooner than I expected. I'm not going to say much about this massive tanuki as with all of this growth it's ready for its first styling in a few weeks, which I will record in a video. This massive trunk of Austrian black pine that I have grafted with Japanese black pine foliage is slowly being reduced until only Japanese black pine foliage is left, probably in 3 years' time. This is the Austrian black pine I styled in Literati this winter. Balanced growth all over, this tree is ready for a proper pot this next spring. Since I first styled this Scotch pine 3 years ago, I haven't made any other video, but I do have some crazy ideas on how to move on, and I'm going to work on it in autumn. Since I'm talking about Scotch pine, this nursery grown Scotch pine I bare rooted 2 months ago is alive and has grown new foliage healthy enough to allow me to style it in autumn. This mugo pine forest is growing well, but still there is not enough growth on it to justify second styling. I guess that will be next year. These pine approach grafts I did last summer, all of them did great, evident by how was the graft when I made it and how it is now, approximately at a 90 degrees angle due to the strong swelling here, which is perfect because if the graft wasn't pushed out, I would end up with a branch like this, which would look unnatural and be harder to style realistically than this, which is a natural position for a branch coming out perpendicularly to the trunk. Close up of the graft and how the healing paste can be easily removed. Even though the graft is totally successful now, I won't remove it just yet. I'll wait for this season's thickening to take place and remove it in October. And an even better close-up of the graft, the scion is totally swallowed by the main tree. Now to the big Yamadori I dug out this spring. The maple is alive and healthy, and I believe that in 2 years it will be ready for a ceramic pot and further styling. The big pine is alive and well, and all of the root grafts are alive, which increases the chances of success by a lot. The main tree has elongated its candles, and slowly new needles are coming out, and all of these are excellent signs for an exciting future. Thank you for your time.